Uh, this is my second opportunity to speak with Scott Yoo, violinist, music director of Festival Mozaic in San Luis Obispo, conductor of the Mexico City Philharmonic Orchestra, chamber musician all over the world. He plays all over the place, super musician, and he is responsible, really, I think, for the renaissance of this festival at San Luis Obispo. How are you? You're somewhere. You're in Missouri, right?
I'm in Missouri at home. You're looking at me in my living room,
Yeah.
and life's good. Apparently, it's gonna be an ice storm tonight, so we have plenty
Ooh.
of food here.
Okay, there you go. The differences between Mexico City or San Luis Obispo. As you know, Santa Barbara had floods and mudslides and horrible stuff, but
Right.
those are unique events. Let's talk about Wintermezzo. That's what we're here to talk about. I'm going to remind people in the summertime there is Festival Mosaic. We'll talk about those dates in a little bit. But in the wintertime, in February, and I'm going to find the dates Friday through Sunday, it's a weekend in San Luis Obispo, which is called Exactly Ideal. Friday through Sunday, February 23rd through 25th. Through 25th. Let's repeat that. February 23rd through 25th. Wintermezzo. Did you come up with that name?
I didn't. I wish I were that clever. It was my
Wow.
predecessor, my preceding partner, Curtis Pendleton. She came up with the name. Well, intermezzo is something sort of in between, and
Yeah.
so wintermezzo was something in between the two festivals. She's very, very smart lady, and she came up with that. I'm
And
not
talk
that creative, Dan.
Okay, and talk about smarts and lack thereof. It took me now, I think, 2 years to figure that one out. Wintermezzo, for some reason, threw me, and only today did I say, "Wow, that is brilliant." And the emphasis for Wintermezzo again, February 23 through 25, that weekend, Friday through Sunday, in San Luis Obispo and environs. There's a concert up in Paso Robles. Wonderful, a dinner event apparently. Anyway, the whole theme is musique française. And
Right,
I have never seen such a fascinating and, may I say, somewhat unknown programming.
right,
Fascinating.
right.
Fascinating. Late Romantic, early Impressionist, I guess, or something. We'll talk about that. The
Sure.
music that's going to be performed, and just the idea. Programs that, for the most part, begin at 5:30 in the afternoon. Perfect for winter. Hello, a dinner, a chance for you to. The first evening is a chance for you to chat at people and your colleagues. You and your colleagues will play. But this is just absolutely brilliant, and we're going to try and deal with this without talking for an hour. But let's I'm going to ask you if you can just give me a kind of an idea of what is the idea. Who came, by the way, who came up with this programming idea? Musique
Well,
française.
uh, I have to share the credit for this program because I've been working in San Luis Obispo with a harpist named Meredith Clark for the last 2 or 3 years, and I've become a huge fan of her work. Meredith Clark is a harpist, and she came to the festival to play Mahler's Fourth Symphony, and everybody came up to me during orchestra rehearsal and said, "Who is the harpist? She's wonderful," and it turns out that she's not only a great harpist, but she's just a really wonderful colleague and wonderful person. And I asked her, if you were to present a series of concerts in San Luis Obispo, chamber music, because people don't really know much about the harp. Um, it's just something that it's a little bit foreign to even musicians. We don't understand how the pedals work at the bottom of a harp. Like, is it your fingers? Is it just your fingers? Do you put anything on your fingers? So we thought it would be fascinating to have a winter mezzo that would use as really its focal point the harp. And so Meredith came up with two pieces. One that I kind of know a little bit. It was written by Albert Roussel, and it's his serenade, and it's for flute and violin, viola, cello, and harp. And so we're going to play that, and we're going to pair that with a piece by Jean-Émile Paul Cras, and it's a duet for flute and harp. And that piece I know
Never,
nothing about.
never
I
heard
do
of
know
her.
that I do know that Kra was kind of similar to Rimsky-Korsakov. He was a seaman. He was in the Navy. He was in World War One. But one of the nice things about Wintermezzo is that you learn about music. Well, the public learns about music that they might not know. And in this case, I'm going to get to learn about a composer that I have had no exposure to at all. The other unknown composer on this program is Noam Elkies, and he is somebody I've known him for 28 years. Noam is the youngest person ever to be tenured at Harvard. He's a math professor. When he was 16, he got his college degree, and when he was 18, he got his master's. And I think when he was, he got pardon me. When he was 18, he graduated from college, and when he was 21, he got his PhD. And he became a fully tenured professor at Harvard of math when he was 26, which is the youngest ever in history. And in the meantime, however, when he was a boy of 11 years old, he played piano for Bernstein, and apparently Bernstein was completely spellbound by this kid, this young genius. And he's been a composer the entire time I've known him, and he's also one of the most brilliant harpsichord players I've met. And so he wrote a sonata called the E Sonata, as in the A, B, C, D, E. And the reason it's called the E Sonata is because each movement, the focal point of each movement is the letter E, and the pitch E on the piano. And one of the reasons, actually, this one is the oddball of the program, because unlike Roussel and Fauré, Noam he's European, but he's Israeli, and he doesn't quite fit into the theme of this program. But we wanted to present this piece because Alice Dade, the flutist, and she's also my wife, she on that weekend, her new CD release is coming out on Naxos, and so we kind of wanted to share, the festival wanted to share a little bit bask in the glow of that, if you will. And so Saturday night is not only a Festival Mosaic event, but it's kind of a CD release event as well for Alice.
Yeah. And I'll for sure chase her for a review of that.
Oh, will you be there?
No, of the CD. I'm almost exclusively reviewing CDs from all over the world these days. That's what's
excellent.
going on.
That would be awesome.
Anyway, let's get back to Wintermezzo. And
sure.
Yeah, I'm glad you explained all of that. That this Noam Elkies piece has also your wife, Alice K. Dade, has recorded. Flutist. It's a flute CD, and Naxos, no less. Wonderful. And that people will have in San Luis Obispo will have an opportunity to hear this piece. But let's look at let's kind of go through it a day by day. We're looking at, let's start at Friday. Let me just bring this up a little bit. First of all, let's get a phone number out there. The phone number for any and all information that anybody out there in Southern California needs. And by the way, wouldn't it be sweet, hello folks, all of you 17 million just south of Santa Barbara, to just get the hell out of the whole area for a weekend? Go up to San Luis Obispo. What a gorgeous city. And considering everything that Southern California has been through lately, really, I suggest in February there couldn't be anything better for the mind and the soul and the body and music and all the rest of it than heading up to San Luis Obispo for a glorious weekend. By the way, just a quick aside, I was invited 2 years ago. I heard that Mahler 4, an amazing performance.
Oh, thank you.
And I experienced Festival Mozaic, which is the what do you call that? The brand name, the summer festival, Festival Mozaic in San Luis Obispo, at various venues, which is exactly what's going to happen for Wintermezzo. But what a beautiful city, what a beautiful environment, what a savvy audience.
Yes,
very,
absolutely.
very, very interesting. I was blown away by the whole event, and I think Wintermezzo is going to really pick up. This is a beautiful time of the year for people to go up to San Luis Obispo, spend a weekend here. Glorious chamber music. These are all first-class artists. Scott, give me a rundown. We talked about your Alice K. Dade, the flutist. Give me the other guys, Meredith and so on. We've mentioned Meredith Clark, harpist. Go ahead, Ian.
Right. So the other
It's your turn.
the the other artists are terrific. Um,
Do you need help?
the the violist is Jessica Chang,
Yeah.
who's well, she's a great violist. She lives in San Francisco. She's she runs a program. Well, first of all, she's a world class violist. But what makes her really special to me is that she runs a program that brings classical music into the schools in San Francisco, and she also has a full time job working for Dropbox. So
Ah,
she's one of the only professional musicians that I know that has two completely different careers. And actually, Noam is another one. And she's just kind of a genius. I played with her for the first time this summer, and I loved her, and I can't wait to have her back in San Luis Obispo. Jonah Kim, the cellist, will be with us, and Jonah is, in my humble opinion, one of the best cellists in the world right now. We all of us, all of his colleagues and I, we all agree. Why isn't he more famous a little bit? And I'm sure that market forces will correct themselves over the next few years. He's just absolutely limit his just completely flawless technically. He can just do anything, and he's also just really a sweet guy. So it's really a pleasure to make music with him. We're we're going to have John Novacek, who's kind of a festival regular. He's been coming to Festival Mosaic since 2005, since I started, and he's beloved by that whole area. He's from California, and then Meredith and Alice. I think that's all of us. So it's really a nice group of people, and you know, one of the nice things about Wintermezzo for me is that it's a chance to see your summer friends not in the summertime, because
interesting.
people like John. Actually, John, I just did the Gershwin piano concerto with in Mexico City. He did, in my opinion, the definitive Gershwin piano concerto. It was
Hmm.
ridiculously great, and everyone loved it. But people like John and Jonah are people that I don't get to see that often. Usually only in July. So Winter Mezzo gives us the opportunity to see each other on in the in the off season, if
Yeah,
you will.
kind of. It is
Yeah,
off season is not quite the right word, but I hear you loud and clear. Let's look at the programming. Friday,
sure.
February 23rd. It's called Notable Encounter Insight.
Right.
And guess who's
So
giving the insight? Go ahead at
right.
the Mission San Luis Obispo Parish Hall. Go ahead, 5:30 p.m. It
Right.
begins at 25
So
bucks.
Friday night we're going to be um, we're really going to be going into what the harp is all about,
Hmm.
because it's it's just, again, it's an object that everybody knows. If you show a million people an oboe, they may call it a clarinet. If you show million people a violin, or sorry, a viola, they might say, "Oh, that's a violin." But you show a million people a harp, and everybody's going to say it's a harp. So everybody knows what it is, but they don't really know what it is. And so Meredith is going to really sort of teach us about what a harp is and how it works. And then we're going to explore the Cra and the Roussel, these two pieces that feature the harp. And I think that's going to be a nice evening. There's going to be I think, a little wine pairing with the with the music, and then there will be a short break, and after that, all of the people who've been supporters of the festival will be staying on to hear a little preview of the summer season.
Oh,
So
nice.
that's gonna come on right after that, and
Very
that's
nice.
kind of I don't know. That always happens in February, and when that event occurs, I always feel like, okay, now I can sort of see the path out of winter a little bit, because
Hmm.
winter in where I live is still really cold, and you kind of think, is it ever going to end? But it eventually does.
That's wonderful. So that we're talking Friday, February 23rd at Mission San Luis
Right.
Obispo, the Parish Hall, 5:30 p.m. Tickets are $25. Let's give the phone number. Area code
Yep.
805.
Ar- Area code 805
Go.
781 3009.
Thank you. You did take over
Yeah.
that situation. Thank you. Saturday, February 24th. This one's called Notable Encounter Dinner. I like that.
Right, and the only difference between Friday and Saturday night is that the tickets are more expensive, and but there's a sit down dinner that's included in the price of admission, and my colleagues and I really enjoy this event because each one of us sits at a different table and we get to know the people in the audience, and it's not often where we as musicians actually get to know the people we're performing for before we perform for them. That's just very, very unusual. And so in that event, we're going to be exploring the Elkies and the Foray. And the Foray that I'm referring to is his second piano quartet. Um, I often tell people that the piano quartet literature is my favorite literature. It's some of my favorite literature in the chamber music repertoire. And it's because Brahms wrote three amazing piano quartets, and Schumann wrote a piano quartet, and Dvorak wrote actually two excellent piano quartets, but especially for the Foray. Just for me, those pieces are so special and unique. And the G minor piano quartet is a piece that is done less frequently than the first one, which was written in C minor, but I think it's equally compelling. And maybe it was last summer, sorry, I think it was either last February or the February before that, we did the Foray C minor piano quartet, and everybody really loved that. And so I thought that we should definitely present the other quartet as well. And that night will also be a night where we feature Alice's a CD release. And so I think she'll have CDs to sell and
It's
to
perfect.
sign, and I think that it's going to be a really
It's
nice event.
perfect with the dinner meal. It's at the Park Ballroom in Paso Robles, and I'm not sure I know that venue, but it just sounds spectacular, somehow wonderful.
I visited there on a site visit, and I remember it being really excellent, and for the acoustics being really excellent. So I'm really excited to get to perform there. These these chamber music concerts are always best when they're in slightly smaller spaces. It's really nice to play chamber music in a 2,500 seat hall, but for me, it's better to play somewhere that's a little bit more intimate, where you can really feel like you have direct contact with the audience. It's more fun. So
Which is
a
exactly
nice,
that's the whole idea of chamber music.
yeah,
Intimacy, intimacy, intimacy.
yeah.
And
This nice ballroom I think is going to be really perfect
sounds
for
like an
that.
older venue too, which is also perfect. Maybe lots
Yeah,
of wood. I'm just fantasizing at this
absolutely.
point, but fabulous. $135 for the event. That includes an incredible meal, Tablas Creek wines, field to table catering. I mean, this one's great. Phone number again, let me do it this time. Area code 805 781 3009. I just want to drill that in because we're trying to sell this whole weekend. Okay, everybody?
That's right.
There's no point in coming up to San Luis Obispo if you don't spend the weekend there and just get away from it all. And in this, as anybody who knows San Luis Obispo, this beautiful, beautiful city and the whole region, it is Central Coast big time. And Paso Robles is such a charming place. And there are wineries all over the place. You can't possibly get bored on the Central Coast. There's too much wine. Okay? Sunday, February 25, this is kind of the grand finale of the whole thing. 3 o'clock in the afternoon, Sunday the 25th of February, at Cuesta College. They have a wonderful performing arts center there. It works beautifully. And go ahead, tell me this programming and what that's going to be about.
So the program is now it's the sum of what you heard on Friday night and what you heard on Saturday night. There's this Jean Emile Paul duet for flute and harp. This piece by Noam Elkies, which is a flute sonata for flute and piano. Roussel's Serenade for a bunch of instruments, including the harp. And then after intermission, the Foray's G minor piano quartet. And that concert's going to take place in one of the festivals, what I kind of refer to as one of our flagship venues. It's one of our best venues. It's called the Cuesta College Performing Arts Center. What I love about the Performing Arts Center is that it's absolutely quiet. It's absolutely the right temperature. The climate is perfect. The piano is excellent. It's a Steinway grand piano, a concert grand piano. The chairs are comfortable. The sight lines are great. Like just everything in that space works. And anyway, I just we all love playing there, and it's not so large. I think it has seats
I was
490
thinking that,
people,
yeah.
something like
Something like
that.
that. That's about right. And I love
So
the
it's
sight lines
again
also from two
right,
summers ago. Remember that? It's that, I've forgotten what it's called exactly, but there's no middle aisle. There's just a big spread of
right,
seats. And
right.
so the sight
But
lines are
even if you
complete.
this
Go.
past summer, I was sitting at the very back of the hall, the very last row, watching a performance of Britten's Metamorphoses for oboe, for solo oboe. And the oboe's not an instrument that makes a huge sound, and it's only one oboe. That's it in the entire piece. And I was sitting in the back of the hall watching this concert and feeling like I was really right next to the oboist, and it felt like a very intimate experience to me, and I was very impressed with the hall this past summer.
2 years ago, I had the same experience. I was because it'd been years since I'd been up to San Luis Obispo to Cuesta College, let
Hmm.
alone. By the way, Cuesta College is between San Luis Obispo and Morro Bay, but
Right, it's
but
on
it's
Route One.
Route One, so it's not a big deal. It's 10 minutes out of town, something like that. But I
Hmm.
remember being very impressed, very surprised, and impressed by the acoustics in that room. So it's a wonderful, wonderful concert.
Yeah,
Chamber music
I
venue.
think it's pretty new.
It is, yeah,
It's only 5, 10 years old.
something
It's
like
really
that.
a
Yeah.
new place.
Now,
Yeah.
let me run down. I just want to throw these out so everybody can get your pencils and take notes later when you review this video 18 times. Summer dates for Festival Mosaic. Let's just start drilling those in, okay? Summer dates, July 18th through the 29th, 2018. Summer dates for Festival Mosaic. We don't even need to go there. We were way over time anyway. But the point is, 2 weeks of solid chamber, all kinds of good stuff, and more, even more musicians come into town. Is that still so?
Oh yeah.
Oh,
Oh
yeah,
yeah.
yeah,
Tons of musicians.
yeah. So it's really impressive. Now let's go up to the top and just make sure we're clear. Wintermezzo. I love it. I love it. I love it. The emphasis, musique française, and some very, very unique and interesting French 20th century chamber music. Um, the dates, hang on, are Friday through Sunday, February 23rd through 25th. It's called Do the Weekend, book the hotel rooms, check the restaurants, check the wineries. That's the whole point. Oh yeah, and then there's this world-class chamber music. Yeah, I forgot about that. Anyway, it's just an amazing special event in San Luis Obispo, and I think the timing is just right for a whole lot of people in Southern California. I'm sure would just like to get away and forget some of the troubles we've had in this neck of the woods. World-class performances. Scott Yoo, as you can see, is not a little experienced in pulling all these wonderful events off. It's been a great, let me give the phone number. Any questions of any kind, get your pens. All of you throughout Southern California, the area code is 805. The telephone number is 781 3009. You can get your ticket prices. You can go online. It's www.festivalmosaic.com. Everything's ready for you. Everything's waiting for you. Just do it, okay? Scott, what a pleasure seeing you again after 2 years, but also after all these wonderful events in your own life, being appointed music director of the Mexico City Philharmonic, and also the growth that's obvious with this festival. I've seen it just in the past 2 years. Everything has become so much more interesting, so much more professional in presentation and all the rest of it. You know that. Uh,
Well, thanks, Dan.
Great pleasure talking with you.
You too.
Maybe I'll get up there. I don't know. We'll see. Or do they
Oh,
have late
please
trains
do.
back?
It would
Okay.
really be nice to see you again.
Okay. All right. See you. Thanks.